So many run-ins, 2 wedding segments, a pole match, and a Partridge bus in the arena. Vince Russo's WCW was a fucking mess, wasn't it? I'm John Retlin with a retro review of WCW Nitro from September 11, 2000. Fucking Christ, this episode was terrible. I didn't realize this was actually the episode where a few meme-worthy things happened, like Vince Russo has struck again. That actually happened on this episode. Thunder, the most recent Thunder before this, was not very good, but actually had one decent promo segment. Nothing about this show was good except in a train wreck way. So, typical Russo. So, the wedding arrival, Crowbar and Daphne congratulate David. Congratulations, you're going to be part of 2 wedding segments that everybody is going to remember for all the wrong reasons. We then get Jarrett saying it's outlandish vaudeville, and he's going to do something to be remembered tonight or whatever. I usually tune out Jeff Jarrett whenever he talks. And then Chronic versus Hoovy and Ray, WCW tag title match. Conan and Disco were on commentary, so just Conan was on commentary. It's funny how short of a reign Ray and Hoovy had. No, that's not a short joke, and they defended the tag titles quite a bit, so I will give them credit for that, even if the matches were usually messes. The Harris brothers, one of the Harris brothers has a camcorder, no doubt to film some, Nazi propaganda because they have Nazi tattoos because they're fucking assholes. And then one of them grabs a TV camera and crashes it into Brian Adams' back. And then Disco hits Clark with the Last Dance, his horrible version of a stunner. And then a Nutcracker for 3 pins Clark. Yes, this is exactly what they're doing with the tag title picture. And any defenses usually turn out to not be all that good. And even ones on pay-per-view usually turn out to be fucking ridiculous. So then we get War Game 2000 recast. We get Russo, who's apparently in a bad state. Because he's concussed. Because he has issues. Because he has problems. Because of course he fucking does. Because he, he tried to get in the ring and play wrestler and everything, and he got hurt, and we're supposed to feel bad for him. More on this a little bit later. Miller and his assistant, Miss Jones, apparently, I always forget her name, mainly because the character wasn't important. Russo's injunction was overturned. Oh, it was thrown out. No, you can't take care of Ernest Miller's power. That's taken care of a little bit later. He is removed as commissioner at some point. I can't remember if it's in the next month or next year. Actually, I think it's in the next month because they don't even last another 6 months. So then Steiner and Nash, for the title tonight, a cage match between Booker and Nash was announced for Fall Brawl, I believe, to keep everybody out. Yeah, this was a lot of nonsense and a lot of build to Fall Brawl when they were still changing the card around by this point, which was ridiculous because they were only 6 days away from pay-per-view. And WWE has taken this mentality and turned it to something even worse, just on a bigger budget. Fucking hell, WCW 2000 really is mirroring WWE 2020. It is actually rather scary. And then Miller's assistant wants to challenge Jeff Jarrett because he's hit her with the guitar multiple times. And Jarrett even says, I'll prove that a man is better than a woman. I'll even be handcuffed. That's exactly what he said. Continuing the chauvinistic stuff he was doing with Chyna, Mae Young, and Moolah even a year before. Yeah, it was actually kind of weird. He was almost a year removed from having that match with Chyna at No Mercy 99. Which he got quite a sizable amount of money for because they let his contract run out because somebody was asleep at the office. Then Miller and Jarrett and Steiner briefly brawl, and then Vito versus Reno and his stick ball bat on a pole match. Does it really fucking matter? It's something on a pole. Does it really fucking matter what it is? No, it doesn't. And Vito, I don't mind. He's actually been a bright spot of WCW 2000. But fucking hell, Reno, not bad, just nothing special. Palumbo's at ringside. Sanders was suspended for a week because of the whole attack on Paul Orndorff at the power plant. And Johnny the Bull shows up, hits Vito, and Reno ends up winning a little bit later. And then Vito comes back up. He rises up like the wall through a table and tries to take them all out. But he only hits a few before getting dominated and beaten down. Then Booker and Sting show up late to help Miller confront Nash, Steiner, and Jarrett. Cool, okay, we're getting, just more running stuff. Medusa to Pamela. It was kind of funny, she said this, are you standing in a hole or are you always that short? I don't know why that was funny, but this was the highlight so far of the show. An insult to a person for being short. That's exactly where we're at in WCW 2000 by this point. Then we get Medusa versus Tori. Yikes, because it wasn't very good, because it also wasn't given any time. Medusa's talented, Tori knew what she could do in the ring, which wasn't much, but credit to her for actually trying to do stuff and wanting to do more stuff, but WWE put the kibosh on that. And Shane attacks, we get a DQ, then he attacks Medusa, and then Kidman shows up. It's going to be a mixed tag scaffold match at Fall Brawl. Pittsburgh Plunge scaffold match. Great, good, this is good. Then Stacey gets a letter. Oh no, oh my god, I'm so upset. And then Mike Awesome arrives on the Patridge family bus. I didn't realize this was the infamous episode where Russo said, we need a bus paying up like the Patridge family bus for that 70s guy gimmick. You know, the gimmick that everybody remembers, except nobody really remembers it for a good reason. And then Nash to Scott, hey, you lay down 1, 2, 3, that's it, like finger poke of doom, because Nash wants to retain his title, but he likes Scott Steiner, and doesn't want to hurt him. And Scott's all upset, and they're doing drawings and everything, and nobody wanted any of this shit. We get Jarrett versus Miller's assistant, Miss Jones. Jarrett's cuffed, Miller hits him, she takes over for a little bit, and then Jarrett eventually gets a hold of the guitar after kicking in her gut, hits her, and 1, 2, 3, then goes to attack her again. Mike Awesome attacks Jeff Jarrett, and then Nash draws for Scott. So actually, this is where we're getting all these segments fucking run together at this point. He's drawing, little caricatures, and they're trying to make Scott like an idiot, like he doesn't understand. Nash at one point calls Scott Steiner the R word, and that's all I'm going to say right there. I say a lot of shit that maybe I shouldn't say on here, but let's not use that word. I mean, I know this was a program in 2000, and there were certainly worse things said, but nah, that wasn't cool. That wasn't cool even in 2000. It really fucking wasn't. And then here's Duggan to talk about, his cancer battle, and, which credit to him, major credit to him, and anybody that beats cancer. Cancer's a goddamn bitch, and he deserves a world of respect, and so is anybody that beats it. It's fucking terrible disease. It takes so many people. And he announces his retirement. Says, hey, Hugh Morris, I'm going to pass you the torch. Go get Lance Storm. Go win the U.S. Championship and, or make the Canadian Championship the U.S. Championship again. Storm and Major Guns, are here. Storm calls Duggan a has-been hero. They have a Fall Brawl preview match. Storm and Hugh Morris do. Duggan's on commentary. He stops the Maple Leaf from happening because Hugh Morris's hand is underneath the rope. Yes, I know he's called General Erection at this point, but I'm calling him Hugh Morris because MIA was a stupid stable. 2x4 to lands, power slam off the ropes, and Hugh Morris wins. Cool, okay. We know what's going to happen because Duggan's going to turn on Hugh Morris because of the Canadian healthcare system helping him with his medical bills. My God, my fucking God. And then Hancock gets that letter. Oh my God, what's this going to be? We know what it's going to be. It's going to be about the pregnancy. David Flair, Miss Hancock wedding. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's also one of 2 wedding segments that we get. David, I've let a lot of people down. Come out, Arn Anderson. Words of wisdom. And Arn offers some words of wisdom while a very Italian priest is standing there. Says it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. Go out with your buddies and everything, have fun, and just apologize later. And then hide the gift money that you get. And then when, she decides to confront you and make the marriage too hard, get the money and run for your life. Sound advice from Arn Anderson. Abandon your marriage. Good God. And here's Rick to a pop, a pretty big pop. But, oh wait, no, cops and everybody show up, and Vince Russo put an injunction against Flair, a restraining order, can't come within 100 feet of the arena, despite the fact that Vince Russo is not in the arena. Or maybe he is, and, didn't really fucking matter, he didn't appear on camera. The cops in suits arrest him. And the crowd's chanting bullshit. They have every right to. They have fucking every goddamn right to. Is so fucking abhorrent by this point. Just anything, even with modern wrestling right now, I could complain about that stuff if I wanted to, but WCW at this point was a freaking shell of a company. WWE wasn't even doing everything great, but good God, WCW couldn't get out of their own way. They kept just running face first into a, hole painted like a tunnel, like Wile E. Coyote did. They just kept running into it, and it was hilarious. It was also sad because this was a once proud company. And then Hancock leaves. Vince Russo has struck again, the classic line from Schiavone, and then they show Russo having brain surgery because of concussions. This is amazing because I thought you needed a brain to actually have a concussion. And I'm going to say this much, Vince Russo is one of the worst things to ever happen to professional wrestling and ever to happen to the human race. I hate him. I hate the fact that he exists, and he deserves every bit of ridicule that he gets. I hope his children leave him, and he dies alone and afraid eventually, knowing that nobody fucking loved him. And I'm sorry, if you're a Vince Russo fan, great, cool. Just saying, Vince Russo's a goddamn piece of shit that never belonged in professional wrestling or on this earth. And the doctor also was very, very confused. They show actual surgical footage and then blood clot in the brain. It's too damn. Russo shouldn't have gotten in the goddamn ring then. There was a lot of reasons why only a select few people ever achieved anything in wrestling, because it's not easy. It's not easy to fucking do. And Russo thought he could do it, but no, he couldn't take these bumps and he couldn't take this abuse. Anybody, any fan that like does, channel like this has never taken a goddamn bump. And I'm never going to say that I know what it's fucking like. But I know this much. I wouldn't do what Vince Russo did, mainly because I respect wrestling. Even as much as I shit on some things, I respect wrestling, and so do so many other fans. And they can't possibly respect Vince Russo. So, recovery 2 to 5 months. Thankfully, Russo wouldn't even last another 2 months on camera. They would send him home and pay him the rest of his contract. Schiavone just blows it off. Of course he should. At one point, Madden said, don't make fun of the footage, Borash, or I'll come over the table and attack you. Like Mark Madden's ever been in a goddamn fight, and like he wouldn't pussy out and run away. Seriously, what the fuck? Borash could have beat his ass easily. Sting versus the Harris Brothers. The Harris Brothers have chains. They choke out Sting. Chronic shows up, choke them out with chains, and then put Sting on top of one of the Nazi Harris Brothers. 1, 2, 3. That was your match. And then we're doing the wedding again because Hancock was upset, but oh yeah, okay, David, you love me, I love you. Okay, let's go do this wedding again. And then she says, David, you're not the father. That's actually what she said. This is the whole thing about being pregnant. This was something they were doing. You're not the father. This is fucking ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Then she leaves in a limo and David's upset. And then instantly we have Mike Awesome being attacked by the Natural Born Thrillers right at the Patridge bus, the Patridge and the Pear bus. And let's put him on the bus. What's going to happen if they put him on the bus? They're probably going to drive him somewhere is what usually happens when you put somebody on a bus. And then Scott Steiner yells and breaks the goddamn backstage mic. Miller's on commentary. Booker is the ref for Nash versus Scott Steiner. Goldberg is a special guest enforcer. And this is exactly what should happen to almost this. I swear is what happened to every single goddamn note. Every single script or anything that they wrote for WCW. They just, threw it in the trash and just said, go out and do shit. Basically, it ended up being a brawl. Booker paired off with Nash. Goldberg paired off with Scott Steiner. And it was a brawl and a bunch of bullshit. The Partridge family bus actually gets driven into the goddamn arena. The Natural Born Thrillers and Jeff Jarrett get out of the goddamn thing. They put Booker through the windshield. They handcuff Goldberg to the grill. And then he breaks it as the thing goes to black. That was your goddamn show. That was your goddamn Vince Russo book WCW. It's sad because there were so many great talents. So many people that could have been utilized correctly. But no. Vince Russo couldn't do that because that would have required him to care and respect wrestling even one iota. So anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.